Hi, we're going to look at figure 7 question 3c, and this time around I'm going to cover the commands that will be covered that will be new is how to create a rib, right? Then other than creating a rib, there is a nice neat little trick on how we should deal with a boss. This is what we call a boss, like an extrusion, like a extra part that's protruding out, and how we deal with this flat, how we get this flat, right? In a circle. How you draw a circle with a flat so that we can extrude it, and this will help us in creating the rib. Okay, right. Without further ado, the way I will approach this problem is if you study the part long enough, you realize that the base is a T shape and it has a wedge-like profile that's cut underneath. And it's got two chamfer on its wings. Then it's got a boss at the top with webs by the side and in the front. Okay, so how do we approach this problem? Let's start. Click new, metric, standard, and we create the part. And I'm going to draw it from the front view. And the way I do this, because it's T-shaped, what I'll do is I'll do something like that, right? I'll draw two rectangles. And I know that in the end, I will trim away these lines. So I won't want to make my alignments based using these lines because then I will need to reconstrain them again. Okay, so vertically, I will constrain both rectangles to the center. And this rectangle, I'll constrain it to the center, right? Then I would make this coincide with this, so it will coincide, right? And then I'll start to dimension out, right? The length of this is 150, and this can be seen from this view here. It's 150. The width of one of the wings is 65. The breadth is 118. Okay, so what I can do is from here to here, it's 118. This width here is 65. And then I zoom in, and sometime around now you can start to trim it away, right? So you don't need this, you don't need this, you don't need this. And sometimes when you trim, they lose some of their constraints. So you may need to add, you see like this is a blue line over here, you make them collinear. These two lines means it's a collinear constraint. It ensures that this line, it lies in the same line as this. Okay, so they are aligned, right? Then one way, yeah, the width of this is not defined yet. The width of this is 58. Okay, the width of this is 58. So I'll put here 58. And it's still blue, means it's not constrained. So what happens is that this width here may, okay, this is not the one. Then it could be this to this. This is not yet. Yeah. Okay, this 28. Then now your sketch is fully constrained and I'm ready to extrude. And the thickness that I will extrude to is a full height of 30 millimeters, so it will be 30 millimeters. Then what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do the chamfer. It's an unequal chamfer, so I'll leave one side as 2 millimeters. The other side I will put it at 22. Okay, and then I will select one edge. And I know that this is the long edge that's 22 and that's the correct edge, so I changed the bottom one to now it's 30 minus 18, right? So they didn't give you the direct dimension over here, so it's 30 minus 18 and that will give you 12. So you need to enter the value of 12. Enter. Okay, and vice versa, you swing it around and you create the chamfer. Now if you're not sure, you can take a look. It is balanced, right? If you are unsure if it's the correct distance, you can always toggle them, and because the distance is like more than 50%, so you can tell the difference, like which is the correct side, right? So this is the correct side. I click apply and okay. Next thing I'm going to draw is on this side here. It marks out the center point, and I'm going to draw this feature. right? This feature here, okay, it's quite elusive looking, 60 degrees. The top length here is 36 mm, and some of you are wondering what's the height. Now if you were to look at the other views, you'll know that the dotted line is here and the height is actually 15 mm. Okay, so here's a little trick that we can do on Inventor. What you can do is you can zoom in. This is the center of the line. You click here and you know that the height is 15, right? And it goes out to 36. The width of the top segment is 36 mm, so that is 15, that's 18 millimeters. Okay, so you enter 18 millimeters, and then over here, right, you can draw a line followed by an angle. Okay, but since we don't know the distance of the line, we just press tab to jump over to the distance, and we type 60 degrees. Once you hit 60 degrees, oh sorry, constraint Z. Okay, let me do that again. Right, I hit the line here. uh, I let it move over here, and I'll press tab. Now hit 60 degrees, right? Tab. Okay, I press tab again so that I can control the length, and this time around it snaps to the bottom. Okay, once it snaps to the bottom, the profile is black, right? The profile is black. So what we can do now is we can use the mirror command within the 2D sketch. Oops, wrong. The mirror command, and we select the, the items that we want to mirror, and this is the mirror line, and then we click apply. Okay, so then we have this wedge over here that's 60 degrees, 36 in length, and we extrude. And what do we extrude? We extrude these two profiles. Okay, and then you press cut so it goes in the opposite direction, and we will be cutting it through all, and we click OK. Now we've got the bottom base done. What I'm going to do is I'm going to swing back around, and I am going to use the sketch the back. Okay, for the back I'm going to draw the circle, right? I purposely move it off center, and the radius or the diameter of the circle is 50 millimeters. And why did I move it off center? So that I can see very clearly and ensure that I align the circle horizontally. Okay, it is still not fully constrained yet because the circle is looking blue, and now I'm going to turn it black by giving it its height. Okay, okay, sorry, let me do that again. It's better for me to click to the bottom because the height given from the bottom is 118 millimeters, and you can see that the circle turned black. Okay, now what happens is that I'm going to give a project, and I'm going to project this edge, so it's going to I can move my line. Okay, here, over here, I can move my line and ensure that it ends on the dot. Now some of you are asking, oh, why is this blue? Well, chances are because they didn't add the constraint of it being tangent to the circle. Okay, for this line to be tangent to this circle. Okay, then you see it goes black. Okay, so you try it out again. You go down and it's blue, so what you need to do is ensure that the line is tangent to the circle. Once that's done, you can trim the bottom bit and you rotate around, and you are ready to extrude. Right, finish sketch, extrude. It's in the wrong direction. You'll be extruding by a distance of 16 millimeters because that's what's shown in the drawing. Let's double confirm, which is here. See, we are drawing this, and I'm drawing the curved surface at the top as well. Okay, I won't draw the fillet radius in case there could be errors coming out from there, so I just want to be safe. I would do the fillet radius over here now, right? You can click on this side here and on this side here. I click OK. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to draw on this surface, and I'm going to create that segment where I move my mouse over here to the circumference. The center will be shown, right? So once I click the center in, I've got the center locked on, enter the diameter of 50 millimeters, I'll have a black circle, right? Then what I do next is I draw a line horizontal line, and what I do is I will trim the line, right? I'll trim the line, and you notice that the line is still blue. That's because it still has not gotten a dimension yet. And the dimension of the line now, if you were to give it any number, 10, it would shrink to a very small distance, right? But the width of the web is given to be 16 millimeters. Okay, so what you can do is you can draw it like this. Then you trim the bottom of the circle. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to extrude it now to this distance, and I need to figure out what that distance is by looking at the drawing. It is 60 millimeters minus 16 mm, so you are looking at 40, 50, 44. 44 millimeters, because 44 plus 16 is 60 millimeters. Okay, so it's 44, and I click enter. Okay, now that you've gotten this, I'm going to draw the hole. And with all holes, we all start with creating a point. You move your mouse close to the circumference, the center will pop out. You need not dimension the point because it turned black. Okay, it turned black, and you can just create your hole right now. And the diameter of the hole is 32 mm. Coincidentally, that's just done. And you click OK. So you've created your hole. Now the last feature to create will be the rib. Okay, and the reason why I centralize everything, the T, from the beginning is so that I can make use of the X Z plane, the Y Z plane, and I know that it is exactly at the center of my part. Okay, right. Now what I can do now is I can click on this, right? And what will happen is that it will create when you move your mouse to a feature, right, to a feature now, or to a to a yeah, when you move your mouse to the edge of a feature, it will automatically project the geometry for you. Okay, it will automatically project the geometry for you, so you can click one here. Now your line is not blue because your distance is not defined. Now this is one of the times where I don't usually do this often, but this is one of the times where I rotate my view so that I can precisely look for the green dot. I know you can't see it very clearly, but very subtly a green dot will appear, and you need to click on that green dot because you want to dimension it to this edge, and according to the drawing, okay, 24, right, 24. And you see that your edge is black in color, and that's how you create a rib. You only need to create a line, and it touches here. Now there are sometimes, okay, because this line comes down here, the way the rib command works is that auto inventor, they very cleverly calculate out where and predict where your rib is going to be, and they will use that and create a rib for you, right? Right. So what you do is that after you've drawn this and constrain it, you go to the rib command, you click on the rib command, and the very first thing you do, right, they didn't automatically create the rib for you. The first thing they're actually prompting you is to select the rib profile. So how do you know that they're prompting you for it? Actually, it's at the bottom over here. Very subtly, they're telling you to select the rib profile. And the reason why they want you to select rib profile is because there are lines that are intersecting, and they are getting a little bit confused. They are not sure of which is the rib profile that you select. So after you select this rib profile, it turns blue. That means it's been selected. You come over here and you choose to create the rib that is parallel to the sketch plane. Okay, and you say, hey, what's happening? Why is my rib so thin? Well, that's because the thickness of your rib is only 1 millimeter, the default length. Okay, so you need to enter in 16 millimeters. You click OK, and you can create your rib, and this is what you have. Okay, now it does look very simple, like how I did it just now, but you need to practice it, and you need to get used to it. You need to play around with the commands to get it right, because there are some times where you may, oops, let me undo this, Control Z. Let's say there are sometimes where you come out and and you may click wrongly. You may not select the profile. You forgot to select the profile, and you're clicking on this, and then you realize that, hey, my ribs are not appearing. Yeah, that's because you didn't select the rib profile. So you need to select the rib profile first. Okay, and there are sometimes what happens is that you may, let me start again. You may open up this thing, and then you may select this as your profile. You may select this instead of this. You may select this instead, and then after that you select your rib profile, and then nothing happens, and you think that your drawing is wrong, and then you go and redraw it again, but actually it's the sequence in which you click this rib command. Okay, um, of all the solid commands, I find the rib command not very intuitive, and if someone is using it for the first time, he could end up fumbling and trying to click all the buttons here, and you get funny looking results, and you get frustrated, and you think it's your sketch that's wrong. You redraw it and you try and draw your rib again, and it fails. This needs time and it needs practice, and I strongly urge you to do that practice. Okay, so I say again, the way you do it is you draw it, you ensure it's constrained, and then you click the rib profile, and you read here, it says select the rib profile. You select the rib profile. After you select the rib profile, you click on this parallel to the sketch plane, then you get it, right? Don't click on any of this, because if you click on this earlier, it may actually hide your rib. Okay, the direction, right? The direction. All right, that's one of the bugs that they have. Then if you click on this, it may push it lopsided to the left, or it may push it lopsided to the right, and that's not what you want. You want it to be from the mid plane. By default, they project the ribs from the mid plane. Okay, so you just click OK to accept it. I know I'm a little bit long-winded on the rib command, because to be very honest, it took me a while to get used to it, right? Because if you click the wrong button in the wrong sequence, you are not going to get your rib, right? With that, happy CADing, happy clicking, enjoy your evening drawing.